Hello, friends. I'm Spire Meteorologist James Van Fleet. Hope your Tuesday is going great so far. In today's edition of Spire Weather and Climate Video, we are headed back to North America to advise our clients and those who just like watching the weather forecast and getting a heads up. This will be about the next developing storm that could produce some severe weather from Texas to the northeastern United States. So, as we dive into the details, I want to show you right here is where the storm is forming, right over the four corners of the U.S. And that happens between now and around midday Wednesday. So, within 24 hours, we'll start to see the storm really increasing in intensity and speed pretty quickly for Wednesday and Thursday. And some of these storms that you can see firing up over Dallas, Fort Worth, down to around the Austin area, even trailing down around San Antonio, could produce not only thunderstorms, but also we could be seeing a chance at some of these being a little severe in some cases with wind gusts over 58 miles an hour right on the immediate squall line. And also wouldn't be surprised if there are some lightning strikes in some of this, although it's not typically the time of year that we see a ton of lightning in the U.S. This has a potential with some of these storms to do just that on Thursday and Friday. And take a look at how this tracks across the U.S. The low will be up here over the Ohio Valley with the cold front dragging across the southern United States. So even on Friday, we could be looking at a chance at some severe storms in portions of Mississippi and up around portions of Tennessee, Ohio, and then off to western Pennsylvania. That would be in the overnight hours Thursday into early Friday morning, pre-dawn, in fact. And then this system makes its way towards the northeast. Loses some intensity as it does so because it will be colder air, so that'll reduce our severe weather threat. I think most of it is going to be between Texas and the Ohio Valley for the most likely threat. Having said that, though, as we get in through the day, Friday and Saturday, you can see there are some resurgence of more intense thunderstorms and in warmer sectors of the U.S. in the Carolinas down to Georgia. So in the afternoon and evening on Friday, if you have businesses, assets, fleet of trucks, moving goods, or staff through the region of the mid-Atlantic, I would definitely be paying attention to this and possibly mitigating some operational plans for Friday. Again, late Wednesday and Thursday is Texas to the Ohio Valley. Then on Friday, it's the East Coast. And then it will move off pretty much straight off into the Atlantic. This has most of the characteristics of a Miller B type storm. And the only thing I think that will keep it from full classification of that is that this won't be a traditional nor'easter. It's not hugging the coast for an amount of time and actually moving off pretty quickly. So I see all your hands being raised. Mr. Van Fleet, what's Miller B? What are you talking about? Well, I'm glad you asked. So just a quick breakdown of what we're talking about. There was a meteorologist named J.E. Miller, and back in 1946, he developed two names, a Miller A type nor'easter and a Miller B type nor'easter. The A is one that develops over water. That's one of the more defining characteristics, where Miller B is something that forms over land and then tracks. And again, these, even if they form in the Gulf of Mexico or along the East Coast, they'll track parallel to the coast, and the warmer Atlantic waters really gives that a ton of moisture to produce big snowfall events in the Northeast and the mid-Atlantic. And you could have everything from the high winds, coastal flooding, big inland snowfall, and some heavy rain. And it can linger for days. Now, the Miller B type, the difference, the main separator here is where it forms. So Miller A over the Gulf of Mexico or the Atlantic. The Miller B is forming over land, like you see around the four corners. More traditionally, they're forming due west of the Ohio Valley, but this can include the Southwest as well, which again, all of that is characteristics of a Miller B type storm. But I think what will prevent us from saying it's full on Miller B nor'easter is the fact, again, that it's not hugging the coast and the low moves directly offshore. So many of the ingredients are there, but I don't think we're going to be able to give it a full classification of that. But just some gee whiz facts of, some of the science and meteorology and technical terms of how we classify systems as they move through. I do want to highlight some of the winds and temperatures associated with this in the coming days. And as this really fires up and gets going in Texas, I'm not overly concerned about severe winds in this for most of Texas. with an average of seeing some of the wind gusts around 40, 45 miles per hour, there could be isolated areas where wind gusts get to the mid 50s, upper 50s, and at 58 miles an hour and over, that's where we're starting to go into a severe thunderstorm criteria. Having said that, probably not seeing hail with this, although the air above aloft is cold enough to produce that. We just may not have enough warm, moist air to really make that happen. But let's keep it tucked away as a very, very small possibility. And we'll update this as the days go on this week. With that said, though, it's a little different situation up here in areas of Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee, where wind gusts, as we get into Friday, are around that 58, 59 mile per hour gust. So I think, again, right in this region here, Tennessee and Ohio valleys would be where we want to pay close attention to severe wind gusts possible. And then as that moves offshore, of course, some very high winds here as we zoom down. This is going to be up around the New England area that we're looking at, and off of as well Long Island in New York up into regions of Boston where we see 66 mile an hour wind gusts. But on the south shores of Long Island, midday Friday, again, if you're running trucks, if you're staffing people and assets right along the immediate coastlines, we could see wind gusts over 80, if not 85 miles per hour. Clearly well within a severe wind limit and range, I should say. And what that would mean for us, of course, is we could see potential damage in portions of Long Island around midday. It then quickly moves offshore, but does include parts of the immediate coastlines around Newport, Rhode Island, and then off just east of Boston. So more mariners paying attention to this versus, say, in the metro of Boston proper. But that is something that is one of our higher threats and very alarming that we want to pay attention to in the days ahead. And then finally, just a heads up on temperatures. And one of the other reasons why I don't think we're looking at a ton of snow falling around the New York City metro, where clearly a lot of you businesses do have staff and assets in that area. As we get towards this system coming across, the temperatures are actually warming quite a bit. So as it makes its way up here into the Northeast, we're looking at temperatures around New York City in the mid 40s and even in the low 50s. And that's pretty much far too warm to have a huge snowfall event. So it's likely more a very cold rain in a few pockets where the temperatures can get a little bit colder, might have a little bit of a sleet or freezing rain situation, which could cause potentially some icing on the roads. But in general, the overall majority of the area, it should be just a really, really cold rain as it moves offshore. But it will be snow up in New England and east of the Great Lakes. So north of New York City, and including a lot of New England, that is likely to be some snowfall for you in the days ahead. With that, that is a look at our forecast video for today. Plenty more to talk about around the world this week. A new tropical system developing in one part of the world. And we'll run all of those details down as well as focus on some of the more adverse weather coming this week as we continue our Spire Weather and Climate daily forecast videos. In the meantime, have a great day.